Cryptocurrencies and number patterns. Stock and crypto investors have always been interested in trying to predict the movements of markets and currencies. We know the share prices of financial instruments are governed by the actions of large numbers of people, whose behavior is governed by emotion, belief, fears, stories in the media, sex scandals, political events, and even the weather, so prescriptive modeling seems almost impossible. Foundation on Apple TV Plus brings Asimov's brilliant sci-fi ideas from the mid-20th century back into public awareness. The story chronicles the mathematical theory of Harry Seldon, founder of psychohistory, quote, which combines history, sociology, and mathematical statistics to make general predictions about the future behavior of very large groups of people, such as the Galactic Empire, end quote. Foundation star Jared Harris, who plays the mathematician protagonist Harry Seldon in the TV series, believes that Asimov's psychohistory is actually possible. Quote, one of the things when I was considering how to treat that idea, the proposition of psychohistory, that made it very easy to accept, was what Cambridge Analytica had done. I mean, they've taken massive sets of data and they've crunched it, and they've been able to predict or manipulate the behavior of individuals. So to me, it doesn't seem like much of a giant leap than what Harry Seldon is proposing. End quote. Jared Harris. If you recall, the Cambridge Analytica and Facebook scandal of the 2010s is where psychological profiles of 87 million Facebook users were built based on data individuals willingly but unwittingly entered into an app called This Is Your Digital Life. Cambridge Analytica surreptitiously and possibly illegally used this data in predictive modeling of and analytical assistance to the presidential campaigns of Donald Trump and Ted Cruz, and was also implicated in interfering with the Brexit referendum. By analyzing the psychology of millions of people, prediction and decisive action was possible. It seems to me that all of this hinges on understanding the psyche, its patterns and cycles. I feel that I have a lot of insight into this, having recently published a theory of mind in my book Sacred Geometry, Philosophy, and Worldview, and being well acquainted with patterns in art, architecture, cities, and the cosmos through my documentary series Secrets in Plain Sight. When you realize that consciousness is mediated by the universal language of number, it makes sense that intelligently studying patterns in number itself may be a way to gain insight into the source of market fluctuations, bypassing the need for expensive artificial intelligence analysis of dubiously scraped data. Fundamental patterns in number. The Fibonacci sequence is one of the most important patterns in number. The rule for creating the sequence is simple. Each term is the sum of the previous two terms. Traditionally, this sequence starts with 0 and 1, but it is a little-known fact that you can actually start an infinite number of Fibonacci-like sequences with any two integers, and the resulting sequence's fundamental relationship to the golden ratio remains unchanged. Here is an analysis from Sacred Geometry, Philosophy, and Worldview, which starts the sequence with 13 and -7. The ratios of each pair of terms gets ever closer to the golden ratio. This happens fairly quickly, but never actually gets there. The golden ratio is the ideal from which all real Fibonacci-like sequences are derived. All Fibonacci-like sequences, which start with arbitrary terms, are the real quantized versions of the ideal golden ratio. The following image is from my book Taking Measure, Explorations in Number, Architecture, and Consciousness. It shows the close relationship the real, discrete, concrete Fibonacci numbers have with the ideal or pure mathematical form. The golden ratio is so important, I cannot stress that enough. The following image comes from my book, The Divine Proportion. The golden ratio may have a causal relationship with human culture and time. The digital roots of the Fibonacci sequence reveals deeper patterns. This is covered in Taking Measure and in the following explanatory video from The Divine Proportion. Peter Plichta revealed in his book, God's Secret Formula, Deciphering the Riddle of the Universe and the Prime Number Code, published 1997, that this pattern of 24 numbers wrapped around a circle resonates with prime numbers. Years ago, I made this illustration highlighting these and other patterns with primes highlighted in red. Here's another illustration I made during that same period of the early 2000s, showing the connection with music and the magnetic machine at Coral Castle, its array of 24 magnets. And another emphasizing the way that we divide time is into 24 hours, or 86,400 seconds per mean solar day. Consciousness, fundamental patterns in number, the golden ratio, Fibonacci sequence, the way we measure time, the timing of major events and minor scandals, sacred geometry, and intelligent investment on the blockchain are all entangled. To understand any one of these subjects, we must strive to comprehend them all. If you count the sunflower seed spirals in a consistent manner, you will always find a Fibonacci number. Nature, the nature of mind, and fluctuating prices in cryptocurrencies are all interconnected in a web of number.